HTML is a programming language. Alright, so let's get started with building your very first website. Maybe it's not your first website, maybe it is. Who cares? Anyways, now that you have Visual Studio up and running, everything's going, let's use some of the power of Visual Studio Code to just whip up something right away. We'll get you going, and then we will explain it. So what I want y'all to do is come in here and select a folder with a file and name that file index.html. Now index.html is important because when Google, the browsers, all that other stuff looks at your website, whenever you push it to production or whatever, it will look for an index. That is the starting place of your application. You will find that as you go on and make more websites, you'll have maybe multiple index.htmls for whatever reason, but typically you're going to have one main one where every user starts off. And so you're going to make that file, you're going to have it in a folder like I have right here. Mine's called Intro to Web. And let's come into that file, exclamation point. We're using Emmet, which is a way to kind of take the load off of writing a lot of code. We're going to hit enter. And now we have this right here. So let's go ahead and name this our first website in the title up here. Now, what I want y'all to know is that the head portion up here, this is information about the website. This is stuff that you may not care about insofar as visual output, but the search engine, the browser, other stuff is going to read this. And so it's important to have up-to-date information on here or whatever you need about your website. But we're not worrying about that right now. So let's come in here. We'll do H1. We're going to say, this is my first website. Come down here. Let's just do hooray. So feel free to pause. I know not everyone's a fast typer. I'm going to talk for a little bit. But all we want to do is have an H1 tag or an element right here, and then a P tag below that says hooray. So we're going to hit save right here. Now, I have some auto formatting stuff going on, so if yours doesn't look identical to this, don't worry. Although you will want to a degree to keep your stuff organized. So as you can see right here, I have this file. Let me open it up. Let me go to open with. I'm going to bring this right on over, and I hate the fact that Windows just maximizes every tab I have when I pull it out. And so we could come in here and we could see, this is my first website, hooray. Now what if I want to add another hooray for whatever reason? We could do that. Small little baby steps is what we're doing. Hit save. Well, nothing happened over here. Why is that? Well, we got to go refresh it. We got to tell the browser, which up here is referring back to our index file, hey, something new changed, something new happened. We're going to hit refresh, and there we go. And that is your first website, at least website with me. So in the last video, what we ended up doing is just make a stupid, simple website like this. So let's break this down a little bit more. So here at the top, we have this thing called Doctype. So when the browser sees this, it's like, oh, cool, HTML. Now, there's been different versions of HTML, so not every doc type you may come across in your entire life is going to be boring like this, although I do prefer it as boring as possible when it comes to HTML. But just letting you know that when the browser sees this, it's like, oh, I know what this is. The next thing we have coming up is the HTML tag. So this is where things get kind of interesting here. So we have HTML up here. We have the attribute that the language is going to be in English. And like I said, the header tag right here says that the character set we're using is UTF-8. Feel free to research that and look into that. That's just standard on every single website as it comes on in. And we're also telling the browser more about how do we scale our content and want to deliver it to the page here. Once again, not doing a deep dive, trying to shovel everything on top of y'all right now, but these are just kind of standards. And we have our first website here, which is the title, which we could see right here. So if we wanted to change this to give me more pizza, and we did a refresh, we would see that we have give me more pizza, or give me more of whatever it is you want to. You can use a bunch of 4-letter words for all I care. Then we have the body tag, and we could see, you know, the H1, so this is a giant block of text. And then we have these paragraph, or P tags as I call them. And we have hooray here. Now one thing to note is that why isn't this all in one line? Well, some tags or elements, I use them interchangeably, will be able to handle situations where, say you want an H1 here and you want to change something about the text. It will not go to the next line. Now there's others, like you're seeing here, that will force the next thing right down below it. So if I was to come down here and do another P tag, this is forced below the previous tag. Come up here and refresh, we would see this is forced below. Not all of them do that. You'll have to, as we go along, see and check out which ones do and do not. The next thing I want y'all to do, and this is going to be useful later on, trust me, and this is important to note, so I'm just going to kind of nip it in the bud early. So we're going to have this amazing thing called paint right here. And I'm going to bring this on up, and can I change my, I have no clue how do you really use this. Let's try this. I think this will be okay. And so what is important to understand here is there's a parent and child relationship going on in this website. So we essentially have a tree. Now I know a lot of people freak out. They've seen those tree designs and it's a big nightmare. Trust me, it's not. So we're going to have this right here. So we have this node. Oh, this looks very terrible. But we have this saying HTML. And you notice that this encapsulates the entire website. Let's forget about the Doctype up there. That's whatever. And so then what we have down below is we have a head. Then we have a body. Okay. So let me switch it up because this one's not that great. We're going to come over here. Going to come on over here, give ourselves some space. We have head. And then we have body. Body is encapsulating or has stuff encapsulated inside of it, and the head has stuff inside of it as well. Since they are next to each other, these are considered sibling elements. They coexist right alongside of each other. Now let's take the body one because this is where we care more. And so inside of this we have, gives ourselves some space. We have our H1. And then our 3 paragraph tags or P tags right here. And these, since they all coexist right here alongside of each other, are siblings. And all of these siblings have a parent of body right here. Sorry, I can't really write this out. But this is the tree that we're going to be dealing with. And feel free to go to a website and look around and just try to envision and imagine, like, what is a parent and what is a child to, you know, whatever element it is you're looking at. And you're going to find that websites are these gigantic trees of information, but just by knowing this common structure right here, that it's the HTML, then inside there's a head, there's a body, and then even in here, you know, I could have more children coming off of, you know, other elements I put inside of the body. And this is essentially how your stuff gets rendered on the page.